Have you ever looked into the mirror and thought, wait, is there more behind my eye color than just genetics? Like, why do people with blue eyes always seem mysterious? Or why do brown-eyed folks get labeled as warm and trustworthy? Maybe you've even caught yourself thinking, why do people treat me a certain way the moment they see my eyes? Let's talk about it, because this goes way deeper than you think. This isn't just about beauty standards or science. Today, we're diving into how your eye color might be tied to deeper psychological archetypes, ideas rooted in Carl Jung's theory of the collective unconscious. But don't worry, we're not getting overly academic here. Let's make it real. Let's make it personal. Take a second. What color are your eyes? Brown, green, blue, hazel? Now think, how do people usually describe you? Calm, intense, dreamy, a little intimidating? You might be surprised by how often their descriptions actually line up with archetypal personality traits associated with your eye color. Let's start with brown eyes, the most common color globally. But here's the twist. Common doesn't mean boring. In Jungian terms, brown eyes carry the caregiver archetype. People with brown eyes often get seen as dependable, nurturing, grounded. You're probably the person your friends call at 2 a.m. when they're heartbroken. You give safe space energy, and whether you realize it or not, others feel that from you almost instantly. But let me ask you this. Have you ever felt like people expect you to be strong, even when you're falling apart inside? That's the caregiver's secret struggle. You give so much to others that you often neglect yourself. Does that hit a little too close? Now, if you've got blue eyes, you're probably used to hearing words like mysterious, cool, or even cold. But what if I told you that, psychologically, blue eyes often represent the seeker archetype, someone who's always searching for truth, for depth, for something more? You might be the kind of person who feels like you don't quite belong anywhere. You ask the big questions. You crave quiet, solitude, space to think. People might think you're aloof, but really, you're just tuned in to a different frequency. Let me know in the comments. Does that sound like you? And if you've got green or hazel eyes, hold on. You're rare. And so is your archetype. Green eyes are often linked with the magician archetype. Creative, intuitive, unpredictable. You might find yourself being many things to many people. One moment you're playful, the next you're lost in deep thought. Ever felt like you're both the life of the party and the quiet observer in the corner, depending on your mood? That's the magician energy. A little mysterious, a little chaotic, but incredibly magnetic. So, just for fun, drop your eye color in the comments and tell us if any of this feels true for you. Do people see you the way you feel inside? Or do you think your eyes hide more than they reveal? Remember what we talked about earlier? Your eye color might be quietly revealing things about you that even you haven't noticed yet. But here's where it gets even crazier. It doesn't just affect how you see the world, it affects how the world sees you and how you see yourself. Let's talk about something called psychological projection. Don't worry, it's not a fancy theory. It just means that when people look into your eyes, they don't only see color, they also feel something emotional. Something symbolic. Let me ask you this. Have you ever made someone uncomfortable just by holding eye contact for too long? Or the opposite. Have you had people open up to you instantly, even though you barely said a word? That's not just social chemistry. It's how your eye energy is being interpreted by others. People with blue eyes are often seen as distant or cold, even if they're warm and caring on the inside. You could be the sweetest soul ever. But because you don't wear your emotions on your face, others might assume you're disinterested. If you have blue eyes, tell me, have people ever said you're hard to read? Maybe you're just more introverted or emotionally reserved. That's not a flaw, it's your style. Brown-eyed people, on the other hand, often get cast into the nurturer role without even trying. You're the one strangers ask for directions. You get poured on confessions from co-workers. You're the emotional support human in the room. even when you didn't sign up for it? Ever felt like you're the one everyone turns to? But no one checks in on you. That's the flip side of having a naturally grounding, warm presence. Powerful, but exhausting. People with green or mixed eye colors get it even trickier. Your gaze can be intense 1 minute and dreamy the next. Sometimes soft, sometimes sharp. Have people ever told you, "I can't figure you out, but I'm intrigued"? You're not being mysterious on purpose. You just have a lot of emotional layers. You pick up on energy quickly. You adapt fast. That can make you seem unpredictable, even to yourself. Let's flip this around for a second. Do you make snap judgments based on someone's eyes? Be honest. Do brown eyes make you feel safer? Do blue eyes seem colder, more distant? Do green or hazel eyes strike you as seductive, mysterious, or even untrustworthy? If so, that's not your fault. It's your brain using visual cues to create meaning. Carl Jung would call this part of the collective unconscious, a shared pool of psychological impressions we all carry. Even if you've never studied eye psychology, your subconscious has already built stories around eye color. But here's the twist. Projection goes both ways. The way you look at others affects how you connect with them. The way people look at you can shape how you see yourself. Let's say a green-eyed girl grows up hearing, "You're different, mysterious." She might start leaning into that identity, playing the enigmatic role, even if she never asked for it. Or a blue-eyed boy constantly told he's too cold might suppress his emotions just to avoid being misunderstood again. It's a feedback loop, and it starts with the eyes. So let me ask you, have you ever felt misjudged based on your eye contact or your look? Have you changed how you act because people assumed things about you? Or have you ever seen something in someone's eyes that made you reflect on something hidden within yourself? In the next part, we'll go even deeper. Why do different eye colors correspond to different emotional styles, relationship patterns, and even life paths? We're not done yet. Your eyes are still holding secrets, and what's coming next might help you finally see yourself clearly. Let's get real for a second. If I told you your eye color could influence your relationships, your ability to trust, your emotional triggers, even who you attract, would you believe me? Because that's exactly what emerging psychological research, plus some of Carl Jung's symbolic theory, is starting to suggest. Now, I'm not saying your eye color controls your destiny, but it does seem to act like a lens, shaping how you experience life and how people experience you. Let's talk blue eyes again. People with blue eyes are often more sensitive to overstimulation. Bright lights, loud environments, emotional chaos. Too much can feel overwhelming. If that's you, maybe you've felt like retreating when conflict arises. Not because you don't care, but because you need space to process. Sound familiar? You might avoid drama, not because you're cold, but because you feel too much, too fast, and you've learned to hide it. That quietness. It's a shield. It's how you protect your energy. In relationships, you might be the type who takes time to open up, but when you do, your loyalty runs deep. You're not about surface-level stuff. You crave emotional safety, and when you don't get it, you shut down. And people often misread that as disinterest, when in reality, you're just guarding a heart that's a little more fragile than you let on. Now, if you've got brown eyes, let's flip the script. You might be the overgiver. People see you as grounded, dependable, emotionally safe, and that's beautiful. But it comes with a price. You attract people who need something from you. Your stability, your calm, your ability to hold space for others. You might find yourself in caretaker roles, even when you're the one hurting. You give advice, you listen, you support. But who holds space for you? Have you ever noticed that you rarely show your full vulnerability? Like you're the strong one, even when you feel like breaking? Brown-eyed folks are often deeply empathetic, and that makes them magnetic, but it also makes them tired. You might even attract emotionally unavailable people, not because you don't deserve better, but because you radiate safety, and some people try to take without giving back. Green or hazel eyes? Let's talk about emotional complexity. You're not easy to define. Some days you're fiery, other days you disappear into your thoughts. That unpredictability isn't a flaw, it's how your mind works. People are drawn to you because you're a puzzle. You don't show all your cards. You keep some emotions private, some dreams hidden. But here's the thing. You might struggle with self-trust. Because you feel so many different things, you sometimes doubt your own instincts. You second-guess your choices. You wonder, am I too much? Am I not enough? Ever felt like you live in the grey zone, never fully this or that? That's not confusion. That's depth. But to make peace with it, you have to stop waiting for others to validate who you are. You need to own your emotional intensity, because it's a superpower. Let me ask you something honest. When you look in the mirror, do you ever feel like your eyes are telling a story you don't quite understand? Or like strangers sometimes see you in a way that makes you feel exposed? That's not your imagination. Your eyes are part of your emotional signature. They reveal what words often hide. And when others interact with that energy, they're reacting not just to you, but to the symbolic meaning they've assigned to what your eyes represent. That's why two people with the same personality can be treated completely differently, just because of the energy their eyes give off. Jung would say, this is part of your persona versus shadow dynamic. What you show versus what you suppress. And the eyes? They're the bridge. So here's your challenge. Instead of hiding behind your eyes, use them to reconnect with yourself. Look in the mirror, not just to fix your hair, but to ask, what am I not expressing? What parts of me feel misunderstood? What version of myself am I projecting? And is it still true? Because until you see yourself clearly, you'll keep attracting people who don't. In the next part, we'll talk about how to stop being misunderstood based on your eye energy, and how to reclaim your story, one honest gaze at a time. Your eyes are not just a window to the soul, they're a mirror. And maybe it's time you finally saw what they've been trying to tell you. By now, maybe you're wondering, if eye color really holds meaning, can I change anything? Let's be clear. You can't change your eye color. Well, not naturally. But you can change how you understand and use what it represents. Because here's something Carl Jung believed deeply. You are not defined by your traits, but by how conscious you are of them. So ask yourself, if you have blue eyes, and people often think you're cold or distant, what if your calm presence is exactly what someone around you needs? You don't have to fake passion, you just have to understand the power of stillness. If you have brown eyes, and others see you as warm and empathetic, that's a gift, but also a responsibility. Are you giving too much? Are you always the emotional sponge for everyone? Maybe it's time to set better boundaries. If you have green or amber eyes and people find you mysterious, that's your depth. But don't let people fall in love with your mystery while ignoring your reality, because your eyes don't lie, even when your words do. You've felt it, haven't you? When you say, I'm fine, but someone sees right through you because your eyes gave it away. Or when you try to stay strong in a breakup, but your glance says, I'm breaking. Or when someone stares into your eyes and asks, are you really okay? And suddenly, your whole act collapses. That's not magic. That's emotional truth leaking through your gaze. Jung called this the conflict of personas, when the mask you wear no longer matches the energy behind your eyes. And when that happens, people don't know what's off, but they feel it. It's why some people say, she seems nice, but something feels fake. Or, he's saying all the right things, but I just don't trust him. They're not reacting to your words. They're reacting to your misalignment. So what now? Jung would say. This is your invitation to individuation, the process of becoming your true self. And it starts not with changing your eye color, but with asking your eyes to tell the truth again. Here's a little experiment. Go to a mirror, not to fix your hair, not to check your skin, but to actually look into your own eyes. And ask yourself 3 questions. What's something I've been wanting to say, but haven't? What emotion have I been hiding behind my fine? Do my eyes reflect a version of me that I'm proud of, or just one I've learned to survive with? Don't judge what you see. Just observe. You might be surprised. Maybe you see sadness. That's your strength waiting to be acknowledged. Maybe you see anger. That's your boundary screaming for attention. Maybe you see longing. That's your dream begging for air. Because here's the truth. Your eyes don't just see the world. They reflect your inner world. And most people are walking around with eyes that tell stories they've never said out loud. So instead of changing how others see you, maybe start with this. Can I see myself clearly and still choose love? Love for the girl who feels too much. Love for the boy who had to toughen up too early. Love for the version of you behind those tired, brilliant eyes. Because the moment you stop trying to fix your energy and start accepting it, that's when your gaze changes. It softens, it brightens, it becomes magnetic, not because it's perfect, but because it's honest. And that honesty, it's what draws people to you. They'll say, there's something about your eyes. But what they're really feeling is, you're finally living inside your own gaze. And there is nothing more powerful or more beautiful than that.